Good day everyone. My name is Applebee's Albismonte and for today's topic I am going to help you on identifying the independent clauses. I know some of you are confused when it comes to analyzing the independent clauses in one sentences. So now, let me help you with this matter. So first, let me tell you the objectives. One of the objectives is the student will be able to understand independent clauses. Number two, to know the joining independent clauses. And number three, to use properly the subordinate conjunctions and commas. So let's proceed with the meaning of clause. So what is clause? So clause is a group of words containing both a subject, who or what the sentence is about, and a verb which describes the main actions of the subjects. Always remember that a clause have a subject and a verb. So now let's proceed to the meaning of independent clause. So what is the meaning of independent clause? So here, independent clause can form a complete sentences on its own, or for short, it can stand alone. While the dependent clause can form a complete sentences and not complete thought, which is it cannot stand alone as sentences. So we have to remember that independent clause and dependent clause are both have subject and verb. So independent have a subject and verb, dependent have a subject and verb, but the differences is independent clause can stand alone while the dependents cannot stand alone. So let's proceed with the subordinators. So we have here the subordinated words. Okay. Subordinated words is when, if, and which. So I am going to example which including this subordinated word. So we have here the example of the dependent clause. Okay, as I said a while ago, these subordinated words have when, if, and which. So look at the example. When Ronnie gets here, number two, if Dennis comes to the class late, and number three, which about last weekends. All you can see is the subordinated words starts with the sentences when, if, and which. So, but always remember that that dependent clauses is always start with these subordinated words when, if, and which. So let's recognize the independent clause. So as you can see, let's look to the examples of independent clause. Number one, we have the let's start the music. Number two, I tell her the assignment. Number three, the battery is defective. As you can see in this independent clauses, it can form a sentences on its own, but it does not start with the subordinated words, which, when, if, and which. You cannot see these subordinated words because it does not belong in this independent clauses that starts in here. So two independent clauses are put together to make a longer sentences, which is done with a comma and fun voice conjunction. So first, let me tell you what is fun voice conjunctions. So the fun voice conjunctions stand with for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So this fun voice used when we are going to create a sentences which includes the independent and dependent clauses. But let me give you the example of dependent and independent clauses. Okay. Okay, here we go. So here is the example of independent and dependent clauses. So as we can analyze, when Ronnie gets here is the dependent, and the independent it's let's starts the music. So we have to mark it here. When Ronnie gets here is an dependent, and let's start the music is independent. together with if the nice comes to class late, I tell her the assignments. So let's proceed with the independent and dependent clauses again. Okay. So take a look with this. Computers have come a long way since they first came on the market. So as you can see, we have the subject computers, verb we have com, and we have the proper place of commas, and we have the since, which is the subordinating conjunctions, and they with subject again, and came with a verb. So this is the examples of dependent and independent with one sentences. So they said that fun voice is also a conjunctions or what you call a link or used to link to a sentence. But they said the most common link an independent clause to a dependent clause is called subordinating conjunctions, which is although, because, before, even, though, if, since, until, and when. So when we are combined the independent and dependent clauses, we can say that the two clauses are called complex sentence. So again, I am going to give an example with another one, which is the two independent clause. As I said a while ago, we can join the independent and independent clauses together with one sentences. So this is the example. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. So take a look. Two independent clause. The example is dog bark and cats meow. Number two is the weather is beautiful today, so I take a walk. So as you can say, or as you can see, this two independent clause is there in one sentences. So we can say that it can have both joined. So, but let me give you the additionals about the subordinators. There are subordinators, which is the adverb dependent clauses and adjective dependent clauses. So what are they? So first, let's start with the adverb dependent clauses, such as if, when, since, because, although. It is an adverb dependent clauses. Now let's proceed to the adjective dependent clauses. It is about who, which, that, whom. To sum it all, we have here the discussions of independent clause and dependent clause. So again, how do we analyze the independent and dependent clause? So as we can look to the examples, we have here the full sentence, which have the dependent and independent clause. So how we can arrange or analyze it by means of looking at the definitions of independent clause, which can form a complete thoughts or can stand alone. Like when Ronnie gets here is not a complete thoughts, but let's start the music is a complete thoughts, which we can say that it is the dependent clause. So we have here the subordinated words, which can link or used when the dependent clause of the sentence is written. So we have here the example again, that when, if, which is it starts with before we create the sentences. It's just start with when, if, and which. So we have here the dependence, but always remember that independent clause is not using subordinated words. Okay, so we have here the fun voice. When we are going to create the sentences, we can use this to link or to have more sentences. So these discussions will help the students when it comes for a better understandings and a sophisticated writing styles. And of course, they will be able to identify the difference between the independent and dependent clauses. By these discussions, you can make sentences more complete and interesting, and you can write sentences with an amazing and an appropriate way. That's all. Thank you.